So how family influences my work is, it started with my mom. Now that they're passed away, I've taken to reaching out to their surviving siblings and creating artwork with them, whether it's sitting down and literally just having conversations about them and then creating abstract work, or actually using ashes in some of my work as a way to signify ancestry and, you know, how to deal with grief and making something really beautiful out of something really, you know, hard. I'm really finally diving into, oh, it really is whatever I create, that's art. And then accepting that. And I think that people who look at art really look to us to give them an okay to see it differently, to learn a little bit more about other people and to build empathy. And I hope that my art can do that to help people kind of bridge certain gaps and understand themselves and each other for sure.
We didn't get pushed to do art being Black. Like, my dad was like, yo, like, you can do business or you can do sports. I used to take drawings and would trade those with people for money. Paint seems to be the thing that I'm always the most inspired to work within. While it may be that I'm working in iron oxide, that still is iron oxide pellets that are getting applied to a canvas or oil paper in a painter's fashion. I had to get used to the part of, once I've created something, I need to let it go, because it's a real energy thing for me. I'm channeling everything I'm going through. Once that artwork is done, I'm now done with that. So I just put all the artwork to the back and just have everything being new. I never want to be a singular source. Anytime that I'm creating work, it's always been about community. I think that my work and who I am, I want to contribute to the larger collective consciousness conversation.
I identify as Chicana. For me, that's a big part of who I am. I do a lot of portraiture and I'm photographing different communities. So there's a lot of building trust. That's really important. There's a lot of intimacy. There's a lot of revealing that happens as we're creating the work. I think also as an artist, sometimes you're creating pieces and you're not sure like how it may come out visually, or it's a work in progress. So I think it's revealing not only for the individuals I'm photographing, but also for myself. What you show and what you tell is just as important as what you don't tell and what you don't show. Like, I don't really see those any differently. I was always in the dark room. I was always taking photos of my friends. And I feel really fortunate because my friends who, like, now, decades later, we're still making art together.
It's interesting to me that we have these identity politics and everything that we do, and so it's easy to put people into boxes and say, this is what you do, and it looks like this, and this is what you do, and you look like this, so this is all of who you are. I try to be as much of a misfit as I possibly can be, so I'm not gonna fit. As soon as I changed my hat and was like, okay, I'm a professional artist now, I couldn't stand when anybody labeled me as a Black artist. It's American culture. It's globally how much Black culture has influenced the world. Lunchboxes were these kind of storyboard versions of your favorite movie or your favorite television show. The fact that Julia was even a lunchbox at that time that kids could pick up, of a single Black mother raising her son, starting a new life in LA in the late 60s, early 70s. It's like, are you kidding me?
We often think about sustainability in terms of environmental and climate change and climate justice, but we don't often think about sustainability in terms of equitable systems that are supporting folks in what they do. There is art to school pipeline, and it is actually fractured deeply in the African American community. Part of my craft has a lot to do with networking and talking to other artists and really working in collaboration with others. The central theme for me is common good. So I'm thinking about biodiversity. I'm thinking about water as being human, right? Like, and us actually treating it like it's human. These are concepts that a lot of people don't want to talk about or think about, because then it would make us accountable to the land. It would make us accountable to each other.
I'm not even creating new things. I'm just resurrecting stuff that we forgot about. Clay has like a structural memory. It's like at a certain point, if clay like settles too much in a certain shape, it's really hard to make it do another shape because it already has that inset like structural memory. And I feel like we too as people have structural memory that after a while it's like really hard to alter. We're born with this like bottomless void, like this cavity, and there's something happening in there, but we don't know what that is, and maybe like those who come after it will feel it. I get really annoyed by the idea of the vessel and how like we are vessels. It equates us to like a household object that is assigned to contain certain things. These prehistoric pots that we dig up, like they're older and they've seen more than we ever have, and they're their own like sacred being. And so for us to like assign what it was used for is like ridiculous because we don't know, like we have no right.
The work does seduce me, it seduces others, with the texture, with the surface quality, the shine, the smoothness. And that seduction, can also talk about sort of, how we're sort of spoon-fed things that we should consider desirable or that we need. And a lot of the objects that I'm painting are made of the same mass-produced material that they're made in the factory, right, on this assembly line. I'm combining these things of a specific time to help identify what the entire piece is sort of trying to encapsulate, right? When we look at, a magic 8-ball or something in a painting, I can reflect going back and, shaking this thing. Hopefully it would give me some truth or some insight. And somebody else might have the similar experience with that, but also it could, surface something completely different, like hating the thing because it coincidentally gave them a truth, right?
There's actually a quote by Malcolm X that inspired me, and it's the quote where he basically says, the most disrespected person in America is the Black woman. The most unprotected person in America is the Black woman. The most neglected person in America is the Black woman. And that, to me, that's one of the huge reasons why I do what I do. A lot of my artwork is centered around like connection. So like human connection to another human connection to the universe, human connection to the world. And I'm also absolutely in love with placing Black women and other women of color, of course, in positions of power that we would normally not see ourselves in. So like the positions of gods, goddesses, higher beings, I mean, you name it, I've probably done it.